The Switch 2 was just announced, and while that's all fine and dandy, a new Mario Kart was shown off, and that's what we all really truly care about. There's plenty of stuff to talk about when it comes to Mario Kart, and we'll surely be discussing that over the next few weeks and months to come. However, one of my favorite things to speculate when it comes to new Mario Kart games is seeing what new items we're going to see return. In the history of Mario Kart, there have been a total of 46 unique items. Some of these are mainstays, some are one-hit wonders, and others have been banished, never to be seen again.
What? Get out!
But if one thing is for sure, is that there will only be a limited number of items that will be appearing in the game, so not all of them can return. First, how many items do I believe we'll be getting in the next Mario Kart? In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, there were 25 items. 24 if you remove the Battle Mode exclusive Feather item. You might expect me to say that means we'll be getting 28 to 30 items in this game. It would make sense considering the expanded racer count. However, if you know anything about recent Mario Kart, it would be that many items don't stick around game to game. Many items will be left behind on the trip to the Switch 2, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Tightening up the items and making space to land new ones is crucial to making this new game feel fresh and exciting. I think 26 items is the right number. Anything more would feel like too much, and that still leaves room for a few new items to spruce up the gameplay. Also, this items menu page with 2 missing icons is too good to waste, so we'll be throwing all the items I expect in this new game on here as we go. To decide which items are in and out, I'll be going over every single item in game order, all the way from Super Mario Kart to Mario Kart Tour. I'll give my thoughts on the item, the probability of it being in the new game, and then either choosing to add it or leave it behind. At the end, I'll add a few new items until we reach our desired list of 26 items, so be sure to stick around for that. With all that said, don't forget to subscribe if you're enjoying the content. We've got many more Mario Kart videos in the pipeline, so be sure to do that so you know whenever we upload. Alright, let's get started. The banana is an absolute lock. It just wouldn't be Mario Kart without it at this point. I see no universe where it is remotely possible they remove it. Boo was a welcome addition to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It was nice seeing an OG item from back in the day come back in a modern game. But does it need to come back? I'd say no. It's one of the most unpopular items in the game, and if it was missing, I'm not sure anybody would even notice. I'd still give it about a 40% chance, seeing as it is in the most recent Mario Kart, but it's not one I think many people are going to be fighting tooth and nail for. The coin is the only item in the game to have actually been confirmed at this point, as it appeared in the trailer right here. However, I could see them removing it from item boxes, but still, it's in the game. I'm going to put it as 100%. The Feather was reintroduced into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the first time since Super Mario Kart on the SNES. However, it was only available in Battle Mode. Back in the day, it was a pretty cool item that let you cut corners and take nasty shortcuts. But in today's Mario Kart, its use case is just pretty extinct. I think it's fun to use, but I'm not confident in a return here. I'm gonna give it a 25% chance to return, and I'm gonna say it's out. Like the banana, there's just never been a Mario Kart without the green shell. I would be shocked if it didn't return. Speaking of shocked, I would be absolutely bewildered if they didn't bring back the lightning in this game. I will say, using a lightning in a lobby of 23 other racers would be pretty overpowered. But since when hasn't the lightning been overpowered? I doubt it gets cut, but out of all of the original Mario Kart items, this is the one I'd be least surprised if it got cut. Still giving it a 99% chance to return, and I'm adding it to the list. Legitimately, the only way the mushroom doesn't return is if the gimmick for this game involves removing all items, which is just not happening. Even if this little glowing blob is a fuel can, they're definitely going to put mushrooms in this game. Lock it in. I sound like a broken record, but all these OG items are coming back. There's no way the red shell is being cut here. Put it on the list. The final Super Mario Kart item is the Starman, or just the star. I've never actually heard anybody call it the Starman except for the Mario Kart wiki, but I digress. The star is coming back. Nothing else to say, 100% put it in. The Bomb first appeared in Mario Kart 64 as the Bomb Carts after you died in Battle Mode, then in Double Dash as Wario and Waluigi's special item. Since then, it's been in every Mario Kart game since. It's been around so long, I thought it was a classic item that's been in every game, but I guess not. Either way, they made a Battle Mode surrounding this item, and they seem to love it. It's 100% coming back. Lock it in. The fake item box is one of those items you could see return in any new game. It's been in exactly half of all mainline Mario Kart games, and it's gone under many different variations over the years, from kinda tricky to very obvious. If you've played Mario Kart for more than 10 minutes, you can very easily tell what's real and what's not. However, if they truly wanted to bring it back, they would need to nail the design. I would say it's possible, but pretty unlikely at a mere 33%. The golden mushroom, like the bomb-bomb, has appeared in every game since Mario Kart 64, except for Super Circuit. However, I'm not convinced it's a must-have. There are so many other items that give you boosts at this point, and in my opinion, this is one of the most lackluster ones. I still expect it to be in, but I wouldn't bet my whole life savings. I'm gonna give it 90%. The spiny shell, also more commonly known as the blue shell, is without a doubt coming back for this game. It's slowly becoming one of the most iconic parts of the game, on par with Rainbow Road and Bananas. If you've seen the Mario Bros movie, you know they love what they built with the shiny shell. And not bringing it back would be a misstep to say the least. Now, one of the more iffy groups of items on this list. How is this game going to handle the triple bunch items? Triple bananas, triple greens, triple mushrooms, and triple reds. They're all coming back. I was gonna say it's possible they don't because of how many items there will be flying around with 24 racers, but I think that's exactly what they're going for with the chaos in this game. If anything, I could see more triple item bunches coming, but for now, I'm gonna just give all of these a 95% chance to return. Now here's the fun stuff. Let's talk about the character-specific items from Mario Kart Double Dash. The first one on this list is the Bowser shell used by Bowser and Bowser Jr. This item is basically a massive green shell that takes up an exorbitant amount of track real estate.
It's free real estate.
It also doesn't break when it hits a player, only when it's bounced off a wall 10 times. I could actually see this being a fun and powerful new reintroduction in this game, as throwing this wall at the back of the pack on a straightaway would be killer. It was just brought back in Tour, so it's fresh on their minds, but I'm just not sure it's too likely. The last time this was on a home console was over 2 decades ago, and for that reason, I have to give it a 40% chance. That's not terrible, but it's not super likely. For my specific list, I'm gonna say no, it's not coming back. Then we've got Baby Mario and Baby Luigi's item, the Chain Chomp. The Chain Chomp is every low skill, high reward item Nintendo's ever added, such as the Bullet Bill or Piranha Plant. I think the idea of the Chain Chomp is cooler than it actually is. There are just too many clone items that are more recent and popular to give it any chance to return. I'm saying 10%. Similarly to the Chain Chomp, Mario & Luigi's Fireball from Double Dash is just too similar to the more recent and popular Fire Flower to ever make a return. Technically, you could say they just rebranded the Fireball into the Fire Flower and that it is in this new game, but we'll talk about the Fire Flower when we get to that. I'm gonna give out my first 0% and say no, it's not returning. The giant banana is fun, and it just returned in Tour. It's not too game-breaking and would be pretty easy to implement as bananas are surely already in this game. It would make sense in this new expanded player race, and all in all, it's not too far-fetched to see a return. The biggest thing holding it back is its time since Double Dash's release. Similarly to the Bowser shell, this all really depends on what Nintendo finds interesting and fun. And in my opinion, I think this is an old item that they would skip over. I'm giving it a 35% chance and saying it's out. The next item on here I think is the most underrated and perhaps most unique item on this list. The heart was Peach and Daisy's special item from Double Dash, and it absolutely ruled. Basically, it acted sort of like triple items do, where here 2 hearts would circle around you and protect you from projectiles and items on the track. If an item hits one of the hearts protecting you, then you gain control of the item and can use it yourself. This item is so sick as it's both a defensive and offensive item that can change the loyalty of items around you. I know it's not too likely, but it is one of my favorite items from past games. I know Nintendo also thinks it's cool, so even though I had to give it a 40% chance to return, I want to see it in, so I'm gonna put it in. The Yoshi/Birdo egg is our last Double Dash special item, and this item is basically a better red shell, as if it fails to hit an opponent, it will break and drop 3 items. While neat, I'm not sure it's exactly what this new game needs, and if I'm being honest, there are cooler items out there that could use this spot, as it is a bit too similar to the red shell, and I'll say it's cut. The next item on this list is the subscribe button. It's been around since 2005, and basically what it does is when you click it, it gives you access to countless great Nintendo videos from this channel. It also recommends them to you whenever a new one comes out. All joking aside, we'd really appreciate it if you did subscribe. We're trying to reach our goal of 300,000 subscribers by the release of the Switch 2, and with your help, we can get there faster. Alright, thanks, and let's get back to the video. The blooper first appeared in Mario Kart DS, and has been with us for the ride ever since. But if you were to ask most people what their least favorite item in Mario Kart is, I think the most common response you would get would be the blooper. It's useless for the person using it, and isn't very effective on messing up other players. It's really just annoying on both sides. I would be kind of surprised if they cut it, but also not. I think this is one that can stay in the past. So even though I'm giving it a 70% chance to return, I'm gonna cut it from this game's item list. The bullet bill is a 100% lock. Even though it only showed up in the series about halfway through, it's just as iconic as the spiny shell at this point, and I would be more than surprised if they decide to leave it out of the next game. The Mega Mushroom hasn't been in a Mario Kart game since its introduction in Mario Kart Wii. At the time, the Mega Mushroom was one of the most popular items to appear in Mario games, with its first inclusion being in New Super Mario Bros. For the DS. However, looking back, the Mega Mushroom seems like one of those mid-2000s fads that never really took off. It was fun, but just never seemed to be able to lock itself into the classics like the Spiny Shell and Bullet Bill were able to do. However, with 24 racers and potentially bigger tracks, this seems like a good enough time as ever to reintroduce it to the series. And you know what? I will. I'm only gonna give it a 45% chance because is it super likely? No. But it's closer to a coin flip than a lot of these other items, and I think most people would be excited to see it return. Another Wii item on this list we have to talk about is the POW block. This item is honestly quite unique. Basically, how it works is whenever you use it, all the players on your current screen are stunned and spin out. It is a really fun item that I never see a lot of people talking about. However, that's also why I don't think it's gonna return. No one is talking about it. It's not something people are clamoring to see return, and while I would like to see it return, I just really see no world in which it does. I'll give it a 20% chance, but it's not making it on the list today. Get that away from me, ew. Excuse me, sorry. I lost my cool there for a second. Yeah, absolutely, zero chance this item comes back. It's not a power-up, it's a punishment. It's hot potato the item, and while that's all fun and creative, I do not need this ruining any more races for me in this next game. It can stay in Mario Kart Wii and be that novel little concept they had years ago. But no, we do not need the Thundercloud in this next game.
Now get out! What? Get out!
Perhaps the most interesting item on this list, the Fire Flower, has been in Mario Kart since Mario Kart 7. Now, that may seem like a small amount of games at first glance, but when you take into account the longevity of Mario Kart 8, this item has been around since 2011, and because of that, it already feels like a mainstay. However, it does feel like one of those items that would be first on the chopping block if it did come down to cutting an item. I personally don't see that happening, but don't be surprised if it does. I'm giving it a 75% chance to return. Then we have the Lucky 7. And if we're going to talk about the Lucky 7, we might as well also talk about the Crazy 8 right now. These two are obviously not coming back, as they are gimmick bunch items that are a play on the game's titles being numbered. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Nasty 9 or a Terrific 10 if we get another numbered title, but neither of those really roll off the tongue, and in my opinion, this game is going to be subtitled. So I'm going to just say this category of items gets a 45% chance at a return. It honestly just depends on if they decide to number this game, and in my opinion, I don't see it happening. The Super Leaf, like the Mega Mushroom, came around at a time when all the current games were obsessed with the Tanuki power-up. The Super Leaf does have a bit more staying power than the Mega Mushroom, as it has appeared in many more Mario games than the Mega Mushroom, but if I had to go with my gut, this item stays in the past. It's not that cool or fun to use, so I'd give it a pretty low 15%. Now finally, we are at Mario Kart 8. This next game is make or break for these items, as if they return, they are very, very likely to become mainstays. But if they miss the boat, they could be relegated to the likes of the POW block and Super Leaf, being left behind forever. The first of the 3 Mario Kart 8 items we're going to talk about is the Boomerang Flower. This is interesting, as projectile items are historically the ones that seem to be able to bridge the gap to new games. However, how many people really care about the boomerang flower? It's not a bad power-up, don't get me wrong, but if it's gone, I'm not sure many people would miss it. I surely wouldn't, so for that, I'll give it a 55% chance to return, and in the end, cut it from the new game. Next, we have the Piranha Plant, and this item is cool, but also just has the DNA of a Left Behind item. It's a bit too busy, with it being both a defensive, offensive, and speed power-up. It's a jack of all trades, but a master of none. If you wanted defense, you'd rather a star. If you wanted offense, you'd rather triple reds. And if you wanted speed, you'd rather a bullet bill. However, I will say it is integral to the battle mode minigame Renegade Roundup. So if they plan on bringing that back, then that could easily be the push it needs to be in this next game. As of now, I'd give it a 50% chance of returning. At this point, I could see it going either way, but as of right now, I'm gonna say it gets cut. Then finally, our last item from Mario Kart 8, the Super Horn. This is our best representative from Mario Kart 8. It was the most hyped up item in the game when it first released. The item to finally take down the blue shell. And not only that, but hitting other players and items with it is also super useful. I am iffy to call it a lock as it is from the newest game in the series, and you can never really tell what Nintendo will do with these items, as there's no real precedent for their inclusion in new games. But here, I think it's pretty certain that they love the Super Horn. And we love the Super Horn. And the Super Horn should 100% be in the next Mario Kart game. Then finally, our last game on this list to talk about is Mario Kart Tour. I give Mario Kart Tour a reasonable amount of criticism. However, I do think it is important that we go over these items, as I think we could actually find some diamonds in the rough here, just itching to be in this next game. And one in particular I could easily see is the Ice Flower. This would be an even more powerful Fire Flower that would have racers frozen and sliding for a few seconds before being able to get back in the race. I give it an iffy 40%, but I think it is one they should add, as it would add a lot of strategy and mayhem to the game. The bubble basically protects you from all items coming your way and gives you a bit of a speed boost. I'm gonna be completely honest, this item is pretty stupid, as it would make no sense for a bubble to give you a speed boost. I see what they were trying to do here, but I'm just not really feeling it, so I'm gonna give it a 1% and move on. The mushroom cannon is just stupid in my opinion. It shoots out mushrooms in front of you, which is great if you get them all, but what if you accidentally just shoot them into the person in front of you? That sounds like a nightmare. A bit more fun than the banana barrel, but these cannon power-ups just don't need to come to the game. Now hear me out. The coin might just be the most annoying item in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, as it's usually just the item you get in first place that does nothing special for you. However, Mario Kart Tour has the coin box item that, when implemented to a main console Mario Kart, could be a game changer. The coin box item would instantly max out your coins to 10 and max out your cruising speed. This is the perfect first place item, as it isn't inherently unfair like giving them a mushroom, but it does max out your speed to the highest potential. I would actually be stoked if this item came to the new game, and at this point, I give it a 50% chance of being added. Then we've got the dash ring, which is just a worse version of the golden mushroom. It lays out 3 dash rings in front of you, and if you go through one of them, you get a speed boost. Out of all of the items on this list, this feels the most mobile gamey, and not something I could see the main console Mario Kart developers adding. The Bob-omb Cannon is just another cannon power-up, but this time for Bob-ombs. I guess they had to pad out the items on tour somehow, but I'm gonna pass on this one. I'll give it maybe a 3%, I'm not sure. While this next one is basically just a palette swap of the Fire Flower, the hammer item could be a super cool addition to Mario Kart. The hammer is technically the first Mario power-up if you go all the way back to Donkey Kong. And with Donkey Kong supposedly going back to his arcade roots in this game, I could see it being a possibility. I'd give this item a 15% chance, as the hammer itself is cool, but I'm not sure Tour's implementation does enough to warrant it being added. The capsule is just another Fire Flower clone, except this time, they bounce. Yeah, no, I'm okay, thank you, 0%. Giga Bob-omb. Get this, it's a bomb-omb, but it's bigger. What are we doing here? Next. Now here we go. The Super Bell has quickly become one of Mario's most iconic items through its introduction in Super Mario 3D World, and its subsequent return in Bowser's Fury. The Super Bell has already been referenced in Mario Kart 8 plenty of times through the track Super Bell Subway and the Bell Cup to end off the original Mario Kart 8 DLC. However, the Super Bell item in Mario Kart Tour is just terrible. It's basically just a Super Horn clone, and even though I love the Super Horn, the Super Bell just can't be added right right now in its state. So I've got a proposal. Let's bring the Super Bell to main console Mario Kart, but completely rework the item. Instead of just being a Super Horn clone, we're going to lean more into its cat Mario roots, and immediately turn your cart into a cat. From there, anytime someone is within striking distance of you, you can lunge forward and get a speed boost and also scratch up the racer and stun them for a few seconds. I think the Super Bell should be a shoo-in for the next Mario Kart game, but the only thing holding it back as of now is its lazy tour implementation. This new concept fixes that and gives us a super unique speed and attack item that is unlike anything else in the game. I'm giving the Super Bell a 75% chance to come to this next game, and I'm putting it on the list. Now, after all of that, we have selected a total of 23 items to return for this new Mario Kart. The banana, coin, green shell, lightning, mushroom, red shell, starman, bob-omb, golden mushroom, spiny shell, triple bananas, triple greens, triple mushrooms, triple reds, heart, bullet bill, mega mushroom, fire flower, super horn, ice flower, coin box, and super bell. However, I said we needed 26. So to get our final list of 26, here's 3 brand new items that I would like to see in the new Mario Kart. First, we need Odyssey representation. Odyssey was the biggest thing to happen to Mario since the invention of the A button, and it would be an absolute tragedy if we never got an item based on that game. However, that game doesn't really have power-ups, but it has captures. Screw it, let's add Cappy. How I envision Cappy working as an item would be like this. At first, he would be a projectile, similar to like the green shell. I wouldn't give him homing capabilities because he is really powerful. You need to snipe the racer you're trying to hit to get this to work. Then, if you hit the opponent, you get to control the racer until the countdown wears off. In that time, you can do whatever you want to the racer. You can drive backwards, you can drive off a cliff, or you can do nothing. Also, during this time, your racer would basically just be a CPU until you take back control. The next item I have is the propeller item. This would launch your racer into the sky and pull out your glider. From there, you can fly over all your competition with a propeller on the back of your cart to make your gliding speed much faster than normal. Then, once the propeller wears off, you glide back down to safety and continue racing. I know a lot of people kind of hate gliding as it can sometimes be slower than driving on land, but here an upgraded glider that you can whip out at any time seems like the perfect item for this next game. Then finally, our last item would be the elephant fruit. Nintendo loves using new power-ups from their most recent mainline Mario games for new items, and this item is the perfect one to use. With the elephant fruit, you could grow a trunk full of water and spray it all over the track, giving you a speed boost as there is less friction. The water could also be replenished in water and be used to spray other racers. I was gonna have this item turn you into an elephant, but personally, I think that would be an oxymoron in a racing game. Anyways, that's my list of 26 items I would like to see in the next Mario Kart game. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are, and what items you'd like to see in the new game. With all that said, thanks everybody for watching. And if you're looking for something else to watch, check out this massive video we just posted ranking the top 100 Nintendo games of all time. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.